We are live here on Monster Territory, brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. And man, oh man, the news has been buzzing over the last couple of days. You know, I was talking about this with Jared Carabas, the tribal chief himself, yesterday. Go check out that podcast if you haven't already. We did that episode yesterday. 20 years in the making. We have known each other for a very long time, and that was actually the very first time that we did anything together. Awesome experience. Shout out to Jared. That was a great time. I'm actually wearing the Section 10 shirt here tonight as we do this. But we were saying yesterday on that podcast where, you know, the good times are rolling, good things are happening. You bring in Alex Bregman to cap off a pretty solid offseason, in my opinion, an A offseason grade. And then you get all this with Rafael Devers. Is he going to play third? Well, according to him, he just gave you one word. Would he move off of third? And he gave you a one-word answer. No. And so that's where this all started. And then Triston Casas, you know, we all love Triston, and he had something to say about that at camp. We're going to dive into that. In this episode, Alex Bregman gave some comments. Alex Cora gave some comments. So we're going to dive into everything. I'm going to give you my thoughts on all of this. And we're going to talk a little Vlad Jr. tonight. You might be thinking here, well, Robbie, I mean, why are we talking about Vlad? He's on the Blue Jays. You talk about the Red Sox. Well, I'll talk about that in just a little bit here. But if you are live with us here on YouTube, everyone hit that like button for me and subscribe if you're new. We hit our goal of 3,000 subscribers yesterday, so thank you for helping us get there. So let's try to get to 4K by opening day. I think we could do it. We got about a month. Let's see if we can do it. But if you are here with us in podcast format, whether that's Spotify, wherever, give us a 5-star review. It really helps us out in the algorithm there. But everyone, before I do begin tonight's episode, just want to give a shout out to tonight's sponsor, and that's Orgain. I'm going to let the guys over at Foul Territory take it away.
Hey, real nutrition has the power to make a real difference in people's lives. So let me talk about Orgain for a moment, please. The new 30-gram complete protein shakes really get you set up for pre or post-workout crats, and also it tastes so damn good.
Tastes too good. It tastes too good. I want to have a second one because there's tons of protein shakes out there that taste terrible. This makes me feel like I'm getting a reward for my workout.
Satisfy those cravings without any added sugar. All 9 essential amino acids, part of your ultra filtered protein shake. It's called Orgain. There are no quick fixes when it comes to your health. If you want more protein, give Orgain 30-gram protein shakes a try. Head to Orgain.com/FOUL30. Use code FOUL30 for 30% off your order. That's the best offer that you're going to find. It's from the FT fam. You got to use the code FOUL30 for 30% off. Give us a little shake on the way out, Kratz, so they know. Just a quick shake. Nice.
All right, so head on over to Orgain.com. Use the code. That's a great deal. You all know me. I love to be hitting the gym as much as possible. I've actually been going about 6 days a week over the last couple of months. I'm a gym rat, and Orgain, they got some good, tasty protein shakes. They're very convenient, 30 grams of protein. Go check them out. It's a great deal. Now, let's dive into the juiciness. You don't want to be hearing about protein shakes right now. You want to be hearing about Triston Casas. Well, maybe you can go get a protein shake from Orgain and be drinking that while listening to our episodes here. But Triston Casas, he had a lot to say on this matter here. So I'm pulling up the article from Boston Globe just to have the quote ready. He says here, I think it's Rafi Devers' position. I think he's the third baseman. And at that point, that's where it stands. He's done it for a really long time now. And I think he's only getting better at that position. I think his defense is getting better every single year. He went on to say that Rafi is the best third baseman in the league. Also went on to say Alex Bregman should play second base. Well, first off, I'm going to state, you all know me. I love my numbers. I love my stats. I love Fangraphs, StatCast, whatever it may be. But Triston is absolutely incorrect here when it comes to the factual side of it. And now, offensively, you could definitely make the argument that Rafi is the best offensive third baseman in all of Major League Baseball. I think you could make that statement there. But defensively, absolutely not. Rafi Devers, when it comes to outs above average, fielding run value, his range over the last few years, he ranks dead last. There is no arguing the numbers there. However, when it comes to Rafi, yes, he will make a pretty solid play here and there. He'll get out there, he'll get dirty, he'll roll around out there, he'll make a great play, a great throw. Yes, sure, absolutely. Those are the highlight reels that we see. Those are the ones that get the attention, all right? Gets people a-buzzing. It's the routine plays. It's the ones that you need to make consistently, where people seem to forget about those. Rafi, I've seen a lot of stuff here on social media over the last couple of days. I've seen the Rafi Devers fan accounts out there, posting, oh, look at all the great highlights from Rafi Devers. Yes, there are a lot of good highlights. There is no denying that. He has made some great plays over the years. But I want to see the highlight reel of all the balls bouncing off his glove. I want to see the highlight reel of the balls getting by him that, someone like Arenado could stab. I want to see the highlights of the throws that have been inaccurate, that have gone over a guy's head, that have been in the dirt. It's those plays that people seem to filter out of their mind, and there's a lot of them, unfortunately. And listen, I love Rafi. Rafi, he's one of my favorite players, but in the end, facts are facts. And as I always say, facts are loud, but numbers are louder. And so Triston is definitely incorrect here when it comes to saying that he's the best third baseman in Major League Baseball and he's getting better. Yes, he did get a little bit better last year, but let's be real. He basically went from I guess you could say an F to a D minus. It might not even be a D minus level. My goodness. I believe it was -6 outs above average last year. Triston is wrong on that. However, what I do like about Triston, with all of these comments, he's sticking up for his guy. He's sticking up for his teammate. He's sticking up for the franchise player. I get that. I love that. I think that is awesome that he's doing something like that. And I think we all should be on the same page with that. You're right. You're going to put your guys over. You got your teammates back. And I do love that. He went on to say here, so I think he's got to play defense. It's going to keep him athletic and he's going to hit because of him being at third base. He doesn't know any other position. He doesn't want to play any other position. And he's going to fight for it. Even if it's with any of the younger guys, any new guys, right? I think that's great. Again, I think these are awesome comments for him to make. Again, teammates, these guys got to have each other's backs. It builds that clubhouse chemistry. However, there's some issues. There's some issues that I have. And I see people on social media saying, oh, why are people getting upset about these comments? It's not really that you're getting upset about them, but I think they could have just been done in a better way when it comes to both what he said and how he could have approached it, right? And I see people out there say, well, the reporters, they asked him the question and you're getting mad because he answered the question. But again, there comes a time and place to answer things in certain situations. I don't think this was the best place to be giving these kind of answers, right? He went on to say here about Alex Bregman. This is where I thought it was a little interesting. This is where it got a little interesting here. He said, I think Alex Bregman should play second. Yeah, I think he's going to make the transition well. I think he's athletic enough. And I think Trevor Story is going to play an awesome shortstop. Again, pointing out, right, that, he's putting over Trevor Story right there. Love that. I also will point out the positive that he's putting over Bregman in a way where, he's saying that he could play a good second base, saying, I think he's athletic enough to do it. So he's saying some good things about him there. He's giving him the rub. He's giving him the credit, saying that he is that good that he can go handle second base, right? At the same time, though, this is Alex Bregman that we're talking about, right? No, not Barry Bonds by any means, but this has been one of the most consistent very good players in the league. Sorry, but Triston, I mean, I love you, man, but I mean, who are you to say this guy should play over here? No offense. I think there's a lot of good things about Triston, but I think he got this one again. Maybe he's not wrong technically. Where yes, I think Bregman can handle second base as well, but where you're saying I think he should go play second. We'll get to Alex Cora here in a second, but again, with Triston, that's not his call, right? You can have your opinions. I think it's good to have your opinions, right? I think everyone should give, their opinions. But again, I think it's about doing it in the right way, in the right context, in the right situation, in the right setting. All right. So that's kind of where this is a little, because when you're saying it out in public like that, in a way, it's sort of like, you're saying Bregman should go play second base. Well, Bregman's been one of the best third basemen in the game for a long time. He's a guy that's won a couple of World Series. And don't even come at me with the trash can thing, because the Astros just won another World Series back in 2022. So you can back off with that noise. Bregman's one of the best third basemen. So Triston Casas, no disrespect, but a guy who's been in the league where he basically would you call it 2 full seasons? Where he missed a lot of time last year, but basically 2 full seasons in the major leagues, where Bregman has been in the major leagues for years now. Don't think that should be Triston's, call to be saying that out in public, that he thinks a possible future Hall of Famer who's been one of the better third basemen in the game, one of the best third basemen in the game, he should move positions. Don't think that's really where Triston should be. Again, I'm okay with having opinions. I think that's a good thing, but it's about doing it the right way and being respectful, right? And it kind of, when you're saying that about Bregman, it's like, this is the guy where, yes, he's one of the best players in the game, but he's also the new guy on the block. So it's kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, maybe we're overblowing this whole thing, right? We'll talk about Vaughn Grissom. He made some comments a little earlier today, too. We'll get to that. But I just think it's just not his place to be saying something like that, especially when you're talking about one of the best third basemen in the game, where you're just saying, I think he should play second. Now, I think a better way he could have said that was, hey, third, second, I think he could play an awesome second base. I definitely think he can go do that. He's athletic enough to do that. But in the end, Cora makes that call. Wherever Bregman plays, we know he's going to be a great player for us. That's the way you should have answered it. Not, I think he should go play second. Don't agree. Don't agree with the way he said that. Now, Bregman, and this is another reason why I love why Bregman is here. Because I think the way he talked today to the little media scrum that he had, I think the guys in the organization, the guys on the team, they needed, especially the younger guys, maybe not Trevor Story, guys like that so much. But this is where younger guys can take note. And Bregman, I think, handled this perfectly today. When he was asked about all of the comments, he said, I'm super excited to just be Rafi's teammate. He's a great player. I think everybody in this clubhouse is worried about winning, and whatever it takes to help the team win is all I'm focused on. I'll play wherever AC tells me. That's all you got to say right there. Bregman, he's not putting any, he's not giving his opinions that could possibly come off disrespectful to others. He's not undermining anyone. There's none of that. He's just focused on what he can do to help the team the best way he can. And he talks about winning. That is what the focus should be. Winning. However this shakes out, winning is the ultimate goal. You shouldn't be talking about how you get there, because especially from a player, because that's not their call. That's the manager's call. That's why he is put in that position. Alex Cora, one of the most respected managers in the game, one of the most respected players coming up. A guy that won a World Series with the Red Sox. A guy that's done a lot of good things. He wasn't one of the best players of all time, but, a very steady player when he was coming up. You know, he's very respected. And I just think for, you know, Casas, again, it's not his call. What I think Casas should have done here, and I'll get to another point of view, right? Where, again, I just said earlier, you know, Casas, he probably should have said, instead of Bregman playing second, he should say, you know, second, third, whatever, wherever he plays, he's going to be great. That's the way he should have answered that. But what he also should have done here, he should have just simply went to Alex Cora in public, not in public. He shouldn't have spoken about this in public, and he should have went to Alex Cora in private. He's the head honcho. He's the man in charge. He won a World Series with the Red Sox in 2018, right? You know, obviously, you know, the whole suspension thing, you know, whatever. But he's been the guy that has been leading the Red Sox now, basically since then. Casas, if he really felt this way, this would have been a better conversation in private, in my opinion. I think you should have went to his office, do a little knock on the door. Hey, Cora, man. Hey, AC. Listen, I got something on my chest. I want to get it off. I want to talk to you about it. Talk with him about it. Share your ideas. Maybe, you know, you guys end up having a great conversation. Maybe this could be a way to connect a little bit more, right? This is what I'm saying, man. Like, not in public, where things can be interpreted weird and, you know, you say something and maybe it rubs someone else the wrong way. And then the media, they like to twist all of it. You know what I mean? And that's another thing. I'm also going to put that out there as well. You know, I think the media, I love that we're talking Red Sox baseball now again. I love that. I think that's great. And I love that the media, they're really trying to get it going. But this is where I have a bit of a problem with the media at times. The way they're asking certain questions, the questions they're just asking. This has kind of been how it's been in Boston for a long time. The media, I think, needs to do better with asking certain questions. I think instead of just trying to get the headline all the time, how about we kind of just, you know, focus on the important things, right? And how about, you know, we kind of stop trying to push for that headline, push for those clicks. I think we got to do a little bit of a better job at that. You know, I'm not going to name any reporters out there, you know, certain people, but I'm listening to some of these questions, even in this little clip here, where, you know, Bregman, he's talking about, you know, how he's excited to play with Rafi. And he had already answered this question like 2 times. And then someone else asked him something kind of different, you know, off topic. I can't remember the question, but then someone else asked him, well, you know, because you had dinner with Rafi last night, I mean, don't you feel kind of weird that he said these comments? It's like, what are we doing? He already answered the question. Stop pushing at it. Stop trying to get a little headline out of it. Like, what are we doing? I don't know who that was that asked the question, but it's like, why are you still pushing? Do you feel like weird because you just had dinner with him last? It's like, what are you doing here? Like, what is this, like Love Island, the TV show? And it's like, what are we doing? Talk about baseball. Instead of just trying to get the headline, talk about the important things, man. You know, like, and stop trying to just dig. You know, sure, it's fair to ask the question one time, right? Fine. But stop pushing at it. Gosh, drives me insane. Anyway, this is where I also got a little grumpy with this whole thing, right? Yes, I think Casas, he should have answered the Bregman, he should have answered the Rafi thing differently. He should have answered the Bregman thing differently. Should have talked with Cora privately if he really felt some kind of a way. You know, getting back to Rafi, I really think, I gave you my suggestion on how he should have answered the Bregman thing, what he should have done with Cora. But if I were to get back to the Rafi part of it, I think what he should have done there was simply say, it's not my call. I'm not the manager. I'm not the one in charge, right? I'm not the one making the lineup. I'm not the guys in the front office trying to put the roster together. That's not my job. I'm Triston Casas. I'm the first baseman. I need to focus on myself. I've missed a ton of time over the last couple of years. I need to focus on getting myself ready for first base, getting my numbers back on track, and doing the best job that I can for the team. That's how it should be, right? He's got to focus on his own job. Yes, stick up for your teammates. Yes, you should. But again, you also have to focus on your own job too, all right? And that's how I feel like he should have answered the Rafi question from the get-go, and none of this would have even happened. Now, this is where I got a little annoyed at this one. This is where I started getting a little not, I don't want to say cheesed off, but I'm thinking, what are we saying here? This is what Casas said about the big three: Roman Anthony, Christian Campbell, and Marcelo Mayer. When asked if he would start any of them at the big league level, he said, no. I think we've got some grown men up there right now that need to iron some things out. We need to show up and see what that first little taste of all us together looks like. I think their time is going to come. And it could be earlier rather than later. But I think for right now, the roster is beautiful. It's organized great. And it's structured really well. This is where it falls off for me. This is where I'm thinking, okay, you've talked about the lineup, but now you're talking about the organization. Now you're talking about the guys that are hungry down there on the farm who have done a phenomenal job. I mean, listen, I know they're prospects. You know, they need to prove themselves at the major league level. But if the organization, if the guys in charge like Craig and the player development side of things and Cora himself think they're ready, sorry, but Triston, who are you to be making that kind of a call? I mean, in a way, I think why are you selling these guys short? Especially Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell, who dominated in the minor leagues last year. I know it's the minor leagues. Don't come at me. I know they got to do it at the major league level. But why couldn't they get a chance? Why couldn't they break camp? Why couldn't they get a shot at the major league roster? What do you mean? I think we've got some grown men up there right now that need to iron some things out. Well, also, here's the thing, Triston. I love you, buddy. I love you, man. Can't wait to see what you do this year. But at the same time, and no disrespect, but you haven't even played 2 full seasons in the major leagues yet. So why are we selling these guys short when they have done some incredible things over the last year? And when you talk to anyone across Major League Baseball in the Red Sox organization, scouts from Baseball America, they rave about how mature these guys are, how well they handle themselves. So it's like, well, you're talking about grown men. I understand they're young, but you are too at the same time. And you were just a prospect a couple of years ago, but you haven't even played 2 full seasons yet. So, and again, no disrespect on that part, but I'm just saying, in the situation that Triston's in, why is he selling these guys short? Why can't they break camp? Why not? If they have a great camp, why can't they earn it? You're already saying they need to stay down in the minor leagues? Well, what if Christian Campbell checks off all the boxes? What if he has a great spring, impresses everyone, not just with his ability, but his maturity of how he can handle himself? Why can't he break camp? I don't know, man. I just think I don't know if maybe if that's something he didn't mean to say it that way, or I get it. He says, I think their time is going to come maybe earlier rather than later. But at the same time, man, I don't know, it's kind of, you're just selling them short. I know I've said that 10 times now, but it just came off a little frustrating to me. And again, he's not the one that makes the calls. And that respect, should be given at the same time, because he is the one that, he's there to play some first base and hit some bombs. He's not the one making the calls. The guys in the front office are making those calls. Alex Cora is making those calls. And when you're making all these comments like this, you're kind of undermining the guys in charge. They are the ones that should be making these comments, if they even do go to this extent. They won't even go to this extent. Like, they won't even, excuse me, they won't even go to this extent with these comments. I just think you're undermining those guys, and you're not letting them do their job. It's interesting. It's very interesting. I just think in the end, I respect Triston in so many ways, and I think he could be a great player. But at the same time, I just think he needs to focus, excuse me, on himself and focus on being the player that we all hope for him to become. Let's play that. Let's get that full season under our belt. Let's get those 30 home runs. Let's do what we all believe you can do. That's where the focus should be. On yourself. Yes, have your players, have your teammates' backs. Show that support, but there's a better way to do it. And I think it's just when you start saying stuff out in public, again, like I said, things can be interpreted differently. You can accidentally disrespect someone when you didn't even mean to. Media can twist words. It's kind of where I'm at, man. I just think this all could have been done privately. When you start getting public with things, that's where it starts to get a little messy, especially with the Boston media. If you're out there in Kansas City or whatever, Miami, I mean, probably you don't even ever hear about this, but you're in Boston, man, just saying. But also Roman Anthony, he actually touched on this today. He actually had a little comment about this. When asked about Triston Casas' comments, and again, this is such a great answer, and I think it really shows, getting back to the maturity part of things, I think this really shows how good of a head Roman Anthony has on his shoulders. He says here, for me, it's just coming in here every day and working as hard as I can to make the team. Nothing really changes for me. I'm just going to continue to come in here and learn from all these guys and work my butt off to break with this team. All you need to say. Did Roman Anthony go out there and say, Triston, I don't know why he's making these comments. He's not saying anything like that. He's just focused on himself. He is focused on being the best player that he can be to contribute to the team, because that's what matters. 26 guys on the roster. Many more in the organization. Team first, always. Respect the people in charge, because they were put in those positions for a reason. Like Bill Belichick always said, do your job. Alex Cora, he touched on this. People sit here and we don't, and when he said sit here, he's talking about the bench. People sit here and we don't put limits on them. He said what he said, but at the end of the day, we're in the winning business. I think that's huge, what Cora just said right there. That's huge. The winning business. That means they're going to put the best team on the field. That's their goal. It's not about where you feel someone should play. It's you're going to put the best possible team on the field based off of a whole bunch of different factors, right? Because you want to win. That's the goal. Not based off of who you think or feel should be at a position, all right? For my end, we're going to make decisions based on competition, roster flexibility, and versatility. We're going to take our best 26 guys to Texas. People will express what they feel. Some people are going to agree. Some people aren't going to agree. Some people are going to like it. Others aren't going to like it. At the end, we like the first baseman. He's going to play and he's going to hit. So I think Cora gave, again, this is how you talk to the media. This is how you do it here. This is how you should do it here in Boston. Focus on the team, right? Do your job. He said here, we like the first baseman. He's going to play and he's going to hit. I did find that part a little interesting. He said, we like the first baseman. Not that interesting, right? I don't know. Like, it just kind of makes me wonder why he didn't say Triston in that, or, or Casas. Like, I just thought, I don't know. I haven't really fully, maybe that's really nothing. It's nothing to really dive into. I just thought it was interesting the way he said, we like the first baseman. He's going to play and he's going to hit. Of course, because he believes in his ability. All right. We all believe in Triston Casas' ability. So, a lot of different comments here. Actually, it even got to the point where David Ortiz made a comment. David Ortiz himself came out of the woodworks. talking about Rafi Devers at third base. You are not talking about just another ball player. You're talking about Rafael Devers, the current David Ortiz type player the Red Sox have. Listen to me, that's the team's best player. Bregman might have better defensive numbers, I'll give you that. But you are not talking about a Mickey Mouse type of a player. You are talking about Rafael Devers. Well, I mean, I get it. Again, David Ortiz, he's coming from the point of view where he was a player all those years. He's a legend in Boston, not just in Boston, but in Major League Baseball overall. I get what he's doing here, but you can't be saying something like Bregman might have the better defensive numbers. I guess, again, I love Poppy. I just think here he's focused on, it's not just, yes, the numbers are better by a mile, but it's not because Bregman just has the better numbers. It's because he's the better third baseman. It's not, yes, what I'm trying to make, the point that I'm trying to make here, it's not just because of the stats necessarily. Bregman is just better there. And you want to put the best team on the field, right? It's not like people are using the numbers just to make, to try and cherry pick some kind of an argument. It's not like that. It's just he's the better third baseman. It's no disrespect to Rafi. Yes, again, getting back to what I said in the beginning of the show, he's made a lot of good plays over the years. He has done a good job at times. But when you're looking at the overall profile, the numbers are bad. The eye test is bad. Yes, there has been flashes in between. But, I mean, it's Bregman, it's I don't know. I just think even David Ortiz is I get what he's saying. He's backing up Rafi, man. That's his guy. But, holy cow. Are we we went from talking about Alex Bregman and how great of an addition he was, and everyone's talking about, I just feel the wrong thing right now. Everyone's talking about the guys that are sticking up for Rafi. I feel the point is being missing here. Bregman is a great player, and why isn't that being focused on? Stop talking about who should be playing where. Just focus on what is best for the team, and stop making this such a soap opera. It doesn't need to be like that. You just brought in Bregman, a win for the organization, and it's got to turn into, oh, well, we love Rafi. He needs to be the third baseman. Well, Bregman, sure, he's got the better numbers, but Rafi's Rafi. Well, it's well, hello, can we like put Bregman over here a little bit? Why isn't Poppy saying, at least in this quote, where's the respect for Bregman? He's done a lot of good things. Well, Alex Cora, he made a pretty simple response to that, saying, I don't need help for that. I'm the manager of the team. Simple as that. And obviously no disrespect towards David Ortiz and anyone else that has an opinion, but this is the line that I think matters the most, and I'm glad Cora came out and just said this point blank. I'm the manager of the team. Point blank, conversation over. And it's not like this is a manager where we're all like, Cora, you're not really a good manager, man. No, this is a World Series winning manager who's had a lot of success. This guy has earned his place. Now, we'll get to the other side of it. Maybe we're really just overblowing this whole thing, right? Again, I've given you my opinions here. But in the end, I really don't think this is going to matter all that much. It's fun to talk about right now. It's nice to give an opinion right now. But really, I think in the end, it's all going to blow over. Positions are going to be assigned. Guys are going to be where they are. It's all going to work itself out in the end. Injuries happen. It always works itself out. But Vaughn Grissom of all the guys, I feel like he's being lost in this shuffle right now. And he came out and said, it's fine. When you know these guys, you know what they actually mean and where their hearts are coming from. And yeah, they're competitive guys. They have passion. That's a good thing. And that's another good thing I'll mention about Rafi. I've already talked about it before, but it's good that he's sticking up for himself. And it's good that he's being passionate about wanting to stay on third. That means he wants to be the competitor he is. You shouldn't go down without a fight, right? Things get said. Some people don't mean it. Maybe it's their opinion or what they thought or this or that. I focus on myself and answer my questions. It's not as chaotic as some might seem. There is no tension. I'm sure the other world, the media world, that's different. But there's a lot of things that get said that are way worse than that. Things are fine around here. And then really, I think in the clubhouse, they're all competitive. They all got egos. They all got pride. They're passionate about what they do. In the end, I mean, you need that energy, right? But in the end, it's all about how you channel that energy towards winning. All right. So I'm glad, Vaughn kind of gave you a pretty even-keeled response. Lucas Giolito said that basically the vibes are at an all-time high in the locker room right now. So I think behind the scenes, it's probably not that big of a deal. They all know they're fighting for what they got. They're all competing, right? But that usually is what leads to good teams, is guys just want to win and they want to do their best, right? So moving on here, I'll just wrap that up. Again, Casas, love how he's different. Love how there's potential with the bat there. All the power that he has. He could be just a great middle of the order hitter for the Red Sox. But I think he just could have done this a little better. I think he could have said things privately. I think he could have worded things a little bit better to where it wouldn't come off as disrespectful to certain people, whether that's people in the organization or other players on the team. I just think he could have done it a little bit better. And in the end, though, I think it really just should have been all private. The focus of what Casas said should have been directed towards winning, not how he thinks the lineup should be. In the end, hey, maybe he's already looked back on it and said, hey, maybe I could have said something a little differently. I'm sure he has. But in the end, it's all over with. We're going to move on. It'll be old news within a couple of days. We got the weekend coming up shortly. Let's move on here. Just wrapping things up here. Let's talk a little bit about someone who's not even on the team. You're probably thinking, well, Robbie, why are we talking about a guy that's not even on the team? Well, this could be a potential target down the road, and this was some big news. Vlad Jr. expects to reach free agency without an extension. No deal with the Blue Jays. The countdown clock went to 0 yesterday. He went to camp, didn't have the deal in hand. He set his own deadline. He said he wanted to get a deal done by spring training. Didn't end up happening. So it looks like he's going to end up hitting free agency. I don't think he's going to get moved before the start of the season. The Blue Jays, where they want to go out there and win. The only way I could see him getting moved before the start of the year is if a team approaches the Blue Jays and they say, hey, we got a major league ready, cost controlled, first baseman that we could send back to you or whatever, any other position, where that team feels like they don't really need that player long term, but maybe they could do some things with the Blue Jays. That's the only way I could see that happening before the season, where, again, a young cost control player gets sent back. Because the Blue Jays, they want to compete, and they're going to want a guy that they can put back into their lineup, right? Not just obviously a rental, but a guy that, they'll have for the next several years. I think it's more likely if he does end up getting moved, I think it's the deadline. I think the Blue Jays, they want to go out there because you never know. Feelings can change. You could always come back to the table if the Blue Jays are winning and, vibes are high and good times are rolling. Maybe the conversation changes. Vlad, I guess, according to the reports, actually didn't even say it himself. I can't fully remember. Or he actually came down on his price to try and get a deal done. But it is what it is. So I think more likely if he does get traded, it's going to be at the deadline, depending on how the Blue Jays are doing in the race for the postseason. If the Blue Jays are a few games out of a wild card spot, that's where you got to really start asking yourself some questions, and you got to look in the mirror and say, listen, Vlad, he's going to free agency. We're a few games out of a wild card spot. Sure, it's not impossible. I mean, we could definitely make that up. You saw teams, like this past year, the Detroit Tigers going on an incredible run after they were sellers at the deadline. So you never know, but I think if the Blue Jays, look at that's what the Tigers did, actually. Getting back to just the point there, the Tigers were out of the postseason race, and they moved Jack Flaherty at the deadline. So, if the Blue Jays are a few out, that's where you got to think, okay, is it better for us to move Vlad now, get back some pieces? Maybe we could still make a run for the postseason in the second half like the Tigers did. Because that's where I think the Blue Jays, they would have to move him at that point. Get back value, because if you don't move him then, well, then you're not going to get anything back. Well, you get the qualifying offer, you'll get the draft pick compensation. But would you rather maybe get more back for Vlad at that point instead of a compensation pick? I think that's what you would rather do. Now, if he hits free agency, I personally think the Red Sox are a huge favorite, right? Getting back to David Ortiz, very close with David Ortiz. Pedro Martinez, very close there, right? Good Dominican history there. Vlad at Fenway Park would be the closest thing to Manny Ramirez that we've had since then. The bat would be amazing at Fenway Park. Obviously, that pull power at Fenway, no doubt home runs like Manny did. But he's also got that oppo power to where he can clear the bullpen. He could go to dead center. Vlad's power at Fenway Park plays perfectly. And with all the nooks and crannies, he gets a couple extra base hits here and there. I think Vlad is just such a perfect fit for the ballpark. You got to remember, too, coming up with the Blue Jays, spent a lot of time in New Hampshire, right? Minor leagues with the Blue Jays. So he had kind of that feel of New England already. So I think Vlad, if again, that was a big question mark this offseason until they finally spent on Bregman. Will they actually open the wallet for a big deal like that? I think that is the one thing where you can have a bit of pause. They did it for Bregman, but that was a short-term deal. Will they do a 10, 11, 12-year deal for Vlad? I'm sure if there's some opt-outs worked in there, I think you can maybe get something done. But again, it's a matter of, will the Red Sox want to spend the money? I think in this case, there's a good chance because John Henry, he does not like giving long-term deals for guys over 30 years old. No, Alex Bregman does not count. That was a 3-year deal with opt-outs. Different situation here. Vlad's going to be turning 27 by opening day next year. You're going to have his prime years. So that's where I could see John Henry being like, yep, that's the textbook example of a big contract that we want to give. I'm sure they'll put opt-outs in the middle of it, and Vlad can go back out into free agency. But for the Red Sox, they would love to have his age 27, 28, 29, 30, even 31 season. If they could have Vlad for at least 4 years, put an opt-out there, I think the Red Sox would be all over it. Now, the Mets, I definitely think could be a contender. They did just spend big on Juan Soto. So again, I think Mets fans, they're going to, come to the table in this situation and say, oh, well, Steve Cohen's not going to be outbid. You got to remember here, they just spent almost $1 billion on Juan Soto. Like, I say pump the brakes a smidge right there. Will David Stearns want to go the extra mile there? Will Steve Cohen sign off on going that far for another massive contract after Soto? I don't know. I definitely think the Mets will be in the picture, but let's see. I think because of the Soto thing, and yes, I know Cohen's got all the money, I know, but again, it's a matter of, do you want to spend on another, possible $500 million contract? That's a lot of money that you're tying up to. I'm just intrigued about that. We'll see. But Vlad, I definitely think, is a great fit for the Red Sox down the road. If that happens, of course, you do have to figure out Casas and whatnot. I know that. We'll see, man. We'll see how it ends up going. But I definitely think Vlad could be a great fit for the Red Sox down the road. And I left out the most important factor. According to the reports out there, we got it from Bob Nightingale. We got it from Marino Pepen. I know he's very hit or miss. But Marino Pepen, he's got ties to the Latin community. I know we kind of used that a lot in the Juan Soto thing. The Red Sox were involved with Soto. Or they were in there, They tapped out in the end, but they were there. They were definitely suitors, possible suitors. They just weren't willing to go that far. Marino Pepen even saying Vlad would love to play for the Red Sox. It doesn't seem to be a secret at this point. Seems like a lot of people out there in the know, friends of Vlad, people, reporters out there, they're all hearing the same things, that Vlad would love to play for the Red Sox. We'll see. We'll see here. But Vlad, my goodness, if he ended up coming to the Red Sox next offseason, I'll do cartwheels in my front lawn. But everyone, I'm going to wrap it up right there. That is the end of this episode. If you are with us here on YouTube, if you can, hit that like button for me. Subscribe if you're new. We're trying to get to 4K by opening day. If you're with us in podcast format, give us a 5-star review and drop a review for us. Hey, write some thoughts on the pod, good thoughts, negative thoughts, whatever it may be. I don't care. Write a comment. But everyone, wherever you are, whether you're live with us right now or listening on the road or at the gym or whatever it may be, go have a good rest of your day. We got the weekend coming up. Hopefully, this drama starts to die down a little bit. Hopefully. I'm pretty sure it's going to start to die down. We can start focusing on some baseball. We got some games coming up, everybody. We got the annual college games coming up here. I'm excited for it. But everyone, go have yourself a good rest of your night or day, wherever you may be. And I'll talk to you next time.